I don't know about you, but something tells me that Bazaya is a lot of fun to hang out with based on this picture here. For artists, by artists, Artist Journal, October 27th, 2022. Berlin. My name is Adrian Pocobelli. It's turning more and more into a TV show. Thank you for all the comments. Again, I'm actually missing some of them. It's weird. I'll go on my notifications on Twitter and I'll think I've seen everything, and then I'll be scrolling through the feed and then people will have tagged me. And so I'll go to my mentions. I never go to that tab, so I'll go to that. Anyway, thank you for all the comments and the continuing support. It continues to boggle my mind, and I love it. So thank you. Here is Bazaya's new work here. Part of that botanical series, he had a great name for it, Floral Flow, and you can still get it. People are bidding on it. I'm way at the bottom there, so I was at the top. So it's the top 10 offers that come in. I think it's around 4 p.m. my time, which might be kind of early in the morning for you, maybe 10 o'clock in the morning Eastern Standard Time, I am guessing. So anyways, if you are interested, you still have time to pick up this beautiful work called Unexpected End by Bazaya, who I used to call 3A, 5A, 1A. And it's just another classic. Again, I thought to myself, instant classic, another instant classic from Bazaya. So great work there. And let's just quickly look at the work. I mean, it looks like a Gucci car. La crème de la crème on the license plate, which I used not to know what that meant. I thought that was like Roman years or something, Roman lettering, but it's not. La crème de la crème, you see the awesome Gucci car here, straight out of the 70s. This looks like a major gas guzzler, which makes it even funner. I'd love to take this, we used to call these boats back in Saskatoon, Saskatchewan. I'd love to take this boat for a little spin, for a little cruise down 8th Street in Saskatoon. And anyways, just super classic. Kind of reminds me of that film director whose name escapes me. He's actually a pretty good curator. He did the Budapest Hotel. I'm sure you guys, as you're going to see here, someone clued me in on the Mike Myers Halloween film. So anyways, kind of has that Budapest Hotel feel to it. Grand Hotel de la Crème. So I'm not off here. The Grand Budapest Hotel. So just an awesome work, was it say? And La Crème de la Crème on the entrance there. So anyway, congratulations to Bazaya. And it looks like he's getting a pretty penny for it too. And you can still take part. Quick thank you. I sold a few works here to Baker Island. I sold Beach from the 8-Bit Nature series. Desert. I had a show and I printed these out nice and kind of like A3 plus. Nice size, by the way. And they sold really well. The Desert was actually the most popular. So here's Desert, also to Baker Island, and sold Kite Flying at Tempelhof for 15 Tezos to Baker Island. So thank you for that. And a quick thank you to Bite by Bit for picking up Berlin Dinner here, whose work I have been collecting very enthusiastically. So thank you for that. And also a very cool post from Runetune. Look at how good black and white works look on this on Kindle display. So just really, really cool. You gotta love that. I should put that on my website. Using my Kindle as a display for my Pocobelli Tempelhof, but unfortunately Kindle won't play animations or GIFs. Anyways, who else thinks Kindles are the perfect image displays for drawings and paper charcoal-like textures? Indeed. Like just very interesting. Gets your mind working. Put it this way, if I'm in the, would you call this a liquid display? If I'm in the display business, the digital display business, I'm taking note. I'm saying, hey, should we have a separate product line for like drawing type works, black and white type works? This would, even the size, you can maybe go a little bigger. So anyways, great post, Runetune. Great to hear from you again. That looks great. Yeah, and then someone else was saying they put their old Nook in. I'll let you guys read that. So there's some technical stuff there using an Android tablet. Moving on, and just kind of a hilarious post from Uxine, When More Acid House Recommendations. What was the song? A guy called Gerald Voodoo Ray. Yeah, so I mean, that one's unbelievable. Yeah, let's put it this way. It's kind of lodged at the back of my head. Like this maybe was a joke, but I'm like, that's a fun idea. And here, Luke 500, this was actually the post I missed last night in my notifications, but showed up on my feed, thankfully. Oh, that's why. Because it's Pocobelli. That's why. Hey, Pocobelli, next time you mention MoMA, have a look at this clip. If you're feeling lazy, feel free to jump to 115 onwards, where they have a round table. If you are really in a rush, jump straight to 156. Quoco Meech, drop some alpha. I'm going to retweet this, so you guys, if anybody else wants to check it out. I haven't checked it out yet, but this looks like the real info. So we love that here. I want to know what I'm talking about here. Because, we put out opinions, I put out opinions, everybody's putting out their opinion. Let's hear what MoMA has to say, just out of curiosity, and I'm sure it'll be fascinating. So I'm going to give that a listen. I kind of want to give the whole thing a listen, so maybe I'll wait for the train to Prague. And quick show note, I'll probably take off at least a couple of days, and it could be 3 or 4, to go to Prague with my girlfriend and her son. And that'll be on Sunday, so maybe I'll have a show on Sunday if I can get something quick out. I think we leave at like 10 or 12 in the 10 or noon. So we'll see. So just a heads up there. And thank you to Paul Sims. The Levon piece is Michael Myers from the film Halloween starring Jamie Lee Curtis. Yeah, I would have never been able to know that if my life depended on it. So thank you for the heads up, Paul. Great to hear from you again. And also Luis Lantigua, who is actually Baker's Island? Let me just get that right. He is Baker Island. He also had a comment, traditional art institutions challenging NFTs or the opposite. Sounds great to me. Yeah, same here. That'll be fun to watch. And another comment from RuneTune, I think Haiti is talking about number 77 about episode 77. So thank you for the translation here, RuneTune, because Haiti put 77 in his tweet referring to the show that he was in. So anyways, thank you everyone. And here is that Levon painting of Mike Myers in Halloween starring Jamie Lee Curtis. Sold for $125, Tezos, and look, Hidden Gem and YDDIDP were battling over it from 80 to 125, so a bidding war, and Hidden Gem walked away with it. So congratulations to Levon, a nice sale and a nice work. Again, continuing kind of like these incognito portraits, as he calls them, which seem to reference popular culture and with a bit of a Halloween flair. So very cool. Arthropo, this is interesting. So again, I consult with these guys, and it looks like, but this was news to me, all the artwork from our drops will be available to buy individually. And so that's pretty interesting and exciting. So it'll be fun to watch that. And they have a really big drop coming up this month with Mikey de la Creme. So yeah, just keep aware of what Arthropo is up to. Keep your ears peeled, eyes peeled. This was hilarious. So remember, Adelia just like 3 days ago, was it? 2 days ago, was kind of saying, hey guys, I'm trying to get into form function, ready to go here. Well, now she's on the front page. And I thought to myself, in the shower, as the thoughts just come out naturally in the shower, I thought to myself, this is digital world, like look at how fast things can go where you're sending out like a tweet saying, hey, trying to get in, can someone look at my work, to being on the front page of the marketplace within, 72 hours. This isn't like a magazine or like the physical world where this would take 3 months. A magazine or whatever, you know what I'm saying? A physical exhibition. Okay, in June of 2023, Adelia, we'll put you in the show. Is sort of how it works. So this is the awesomeness, the speed which we can work with that we have in digital. So congratulations to see Life is a Game. So that looks like a really cool work Can we quickly look at it? Form function. Yeah, now look at how good this is for form function. They are right there front and center on Adelia's profile. So let's take a quick look at this. It looks like a great piece. Look at this. So kind of that Japanese pop style. Got a Game Boy, game over, life is a game. Make sure you always keep going. Another positive work. I love these positive works. You know, J.G. Ballard, who I like to reference here, current bid 2.7, he criticized a lot of the modernists as being too pessimistic, and we were sort of referencing this yesterday. I think it was yesterday. This idea that, you know, with Francis Bacon and this, what I was calling like the nightmare of contemporary art, and that, you know, somehow it's more profound if it's depressing. And Ballard really criticized this. He was talking about how if anything befits or fits the 20th century that he was discussing in the 70s, was optimism and idealism and this fun consumer society back then. And so, you know, the sexual revolution, just like people, like it was optimism, it was freedom, you know. And so, yeah, I mean, of course, that had JFK's assassination and everything else in the mix to make it a very interesting century. But all to say, just a kind of a, you know, the optimism is something not to be underestimated. Kind of makes me pretty excited. You know, this is pretty cheap, by the way. 2.7 sol. That's like $100 for what's a one of one. I believe this is a one of one marketplace. 3 hours and 52 minutes to go. Wow. Okay, I may put a bid on that one. Okay, continuing on. So Die with the Most Likes and Xerox collaboration with Fake Whale. Now remember, I wasn't sure if these were put alphabetically, and I was saying how important I think it is for the artist to mint it. So it looks like it's not alphabetical. So I think this is a great little technique in order to share the proceeds, because this shows up in Fake Whale's gallery. So Fake Whale, or they're putting out an edition with these two artists here. And so this shows up in their gallery here. So this is like, to me, this is a digital art gallery and it all works. They make their deal with the artist and they, you know, they get whatever cut they get, and it's that simple. It's that simple. And it'll also be in Die with the Most Likes profile, right? And Xerox's profile. So to me, this is a model for the, not just for the future, but for the present. A model for the present, of a kind of digital gallery model. I would argue. Feel free to leave a comment if you agree or disagree. So anyways, I think they're taking the top 10. There was a tweet out, or top 15, 2, 4, 6, 8. So yeah, so you're going to have to pay at least like 170. But the thing is on secondary, these things can go for like 3 or 4 or 500 Tezos. Who knows? Not financial advice. Continuing on, cool work. I really like, actually, this brush at the end, which creates just kind of real ominous, it's kind of back to that negative space like we were talking about with Louis Osborne. It just creates an ominous kind of, again, a very kind of edgy, contemporary, like art feeling. You know, it's a poetry of sorts. It doesn't even make sense. What's that doing there? But it has an impact. Continuing on, look at Fake Whales. It looks pretty good. Their whole, that looks really good too. I don't want to take us off. Look at how cool that is. So that's with Gary Edward Bloom and offers. Did that sell? Sale $62.50. So it's an edition of 10. Pretty nice piece. Okay, continuing on. Someone put a bid in, Flannel Capital put in a bid for this work by Shepperton that we were just looking at yesterday. So I just wanted to point that out here. And it sold for an ETH. So just interesting digital abstract painting, which we looked at a lot of. We looked at a lot of digital abstract painting yesterday. So it's just a fun genre to explore because you get the sense that something's going to happen or that it's just going to keep evolving and it'll be interesting and I'm sure it'll be its own thing. Santiago, this is my work in progress now and I want you to have a bright day. It's like he could stop right here, couldn't he? But let's see where it goes. It's always a challenge to know when to stop something. So it'll be interesting even to compare and contrast the finished version. So nice work by Santiago. Ed Marola with a work in progress, and we see a lot of Ed Marola's work on this program. So kind of like Popple, it's really interesting to see how these guys are building from nothing. I almost never do that. I should try, because it'd probably just open a whole corner of my brain. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just not used to doing that. Now I kind of want to. What's going to come out? So really nice seeing that stuff. And here's another work in progress. Look at this. I'm actually a huge fan of what he's doing here. I'm really into this new crayon thing. So he makes some marks. I've done similar stuff with paint in the Secret History of World War III. But I love how he's documenting it and everything. So then he makes some custom brushes. This I don't do. And it looks like, is this an Aseprite that you can do this? I didn't know that. And then look at this. And then he draws. And we saw, this. There's another artist we're looking at that does a lot of these kind of sampled brush strokes. And now look at what he's making. The spray tool he uses with these brushes. So this is fascinating, guys. This is like the front lines of this digital art revolution that I call a digital art revolution. I'm sure a lot of you do too. Smudge and jumble the corners a bit for tilt shift. So just revealing everything, and draw someone having a good time. Awesome. Done. Minting soon. And I believe I brought that up here. So Lost, buy for 3. So very, very cool. So a new work by Ed Marola, traveling through the mediums, as I like to call it. That is my tagline on Object. Here, and we will get to some finished works here, but this is fascinating too. Look at Limbo. You can see him working. It looks like Procreate here. He's got some music on. Some nice kind of synth music. Pretty cool music, actually. And then just putting some shading in there. So I'm loving these work in progress pieces, guys. So sticker makers. So it looks like he's making a sticker, really nice sticker. And a quick heads up from Limbo. I'm almost done with my new stamp that will be gifted freely to the users of my last auction. It will be announced later. This is the only pixel art piece I've ever made, by the way. So a pixel artwork from Limbo. And also in just kind of work in progress land, Gabby Walter is working on a sculpture. I never thought sculpting would be this funny, and one of his trademark Mickey Mouse characters with the broken ear. So pretty cool. Again, makes you think like we could all potentially be sculptors here with a few software tutorials. Okay, so moving on to some works. The Art of Vindictive Cookery by Yuri J. A new work on Super Rare. And a pretty nice, I guess, interior is what you would call this. And again, I love the off-kilter perspective. And here you have a pan way up on top. This is almost like a younger person. This is like a bachelor pad, almost. And then you see like the bed here. It's like the person lives in their kitchen. And then one of these almost like stoves that you plug in. So almost a portrait of Bohemia, interestingly. And a bunk bed. It looks like several people live in this room. That is also a bedroom and a kitchen. The Art of Vindictive Cookery. No description. 8 megabytes, 2500 by 3000 PNG. Reserve of 0.69. And another Super Rare artist, I think Super Rare actually shared this on their Instagram, and I was actually pretty impressed. Kind of a cool looking work. I assume it's digital. It's by an artist I've never heard of, Besu. And yeah, there's a little bit of science here. And so just an interesting work. List price 1.54. And there was another work in Flannel Capital again. So they're buying works on Super Rare. They picked this one up for 1 ETH. And I think this was the Genesis work, The Visit. So a bit of a UFO thing going on here. Maybe a bit of a sacrifice or a meal. Just really interesting work. I like the margins too. It lets the whole work breathe a lot more. So that's just an interesting kind of technique on the side. Again, that negative space can really help something. So Brazilian artist Pedro Ribeiro, also known as Besu. And continuing on, a new painting from Rat Cloak. And this is interesting. Very interesting details like here. I think I brought this up bigger here. Here we go. Yeah, like so very interesting details. That seems to shadow or to mirror the face a bit. It's almost like he took the layer that was on the face, on this kind of fuzzy face. But this is a Twitter, but it may be intentionally that way because this is fairly sharp. I mean, Twitter will always reduce the resolution. So just interesting, kind of scary there as usual. And yeah, and then there's also this interesting line that goes across the entire piece of the yellow. It's almost like the background is flowing into the foreground with a long shadow. Anyway, it's just beautifully painted as ever. I wonder if this is on the phone. Let's see. I guess he hasn't minted it yet, as far as I understand. So, new painting. So it'll be interesting to see where he puts it too. I'm assuming ETH, but who knows? Maybe he puts it on object. I am not sure, but very cool looking work. Another one from Board Me Social Club. Again, using a lot of myth elements, so I'm not sure what to make of that, but it's a good looking piece. Buff the Vampire, digital painting. Again, these red eyes, again, I picked up a couple of myths with these red eyes, but they look great, and it is in his own style, and he's actually quite good at painting this whole kind of mask, and this looks like a bit of a Halloween vibe. Buffy the Vampire, so I guess BV is what that stands for. So this sold right away for a mere 17 Tezos, a 1 of 1, and just really nice colors. Very interesting. Very, very interesting. So Board Me Social Club continues to turn the head. Dan Control, Maneki Neko. I have a friend who's obsessed with this. He's actually a pretty cool painter. My friend Ben. I'll bring up his work. He actually paints memes in like water-based oil paint. He's a hilarious dude, and he loves these clocks. So once I get him on Tezos, which I've been trying to do, I will send him this work because he loves these things. And so I saw Dan Control had a new work, and I had to pick it up for Ben. I'll show you Ben's work at a future point. Did this sell out? Yes, it did. So congratulations. Dan Control continues to be on a roll. And this was just a different work from Dexter. We've been following Dexter as the guy who has the kind of the gifts that are like, the car overlooking the sunset, and then one thing will be moving or the car on fire. You all know Dexter's work if you've been watching this program. So he minted something on OpenSea, Libranican, in a different style. So this is fun. I mean, just completely different, right? I mean, some similarities in the paint treatment, but I mean, if you said this was if you asked me if this was Dexter before seeing it, I would never say, oh, that's him. But it appears to be. So Libranicon you can get for $31 or 0.02 ETH. So very affordable here for a edition of 5, I believe. 5 owned by Dexter. So just very interesting in a series called Next Dex, and it is brand new. So feel free. Emotional art about life, love, and sorrow. So just interesting to see what people do here. Vestigios, that's kind of what I like about the different blockchains. You can kind of put a different work or series on a different blockchain. Like you saw Sabato with that Raw Skies series on Solana. And I think it's just an opportunity to just try something different. And that series that Sabato did really works well. It has a Solana feel to it. So that's also just kind of interesting. So there's some music here. Let me see if I can get it running. This is a new work by Gora. Would You Drink With Me? And we'll see if it plays. Kind of like 8-bit kind of retro music. See if this plays. So interesting work. Kind of looks like a chair on fire. Classic kind of Gora. And you even see the signature here, Gora, a rainbow. Not sure if we're going to get the music here. Let me just quickly reload. Animation and music by Gora. Pupilla dilatata, so dilated pupils. Will this work? Here we go. just kind of funny and interesting. Pretty cool. I mean, that in itself is becoming a genre, just like music, like a short 20 to 30 second piece. I think Ed has one in here too that I am going to touch on. So anyways, interesting work by Gora. Is that still available? Sent to Ed and a few others. Edition of 100. So I assume that'll go on the market at some point. New work from Daniel W., which I believe sold out. It did, and now you can buy on secondary for $4.80. And this is a new monster. This piece is a reinterpretation of Ephraim Moses Lillian's Dibuk, done in my style, which is out of Jewish folklore. The Dibuk is a human spirit that is forced to roam until it finds a living body to latch on or cling to. Legend says that the spirit is that of a sinner who did not receive proper divine blessings. Its name comes from the Hebrew, which means the act of sticking, and is a nominal form derived from the verb to adhere or cling. Okay, so anyways, interesting work from Daniel W. Sold out pretty fast. Let's see how fast. Yeah, within like 2 hours, an edition of 32. So that is pretty good. So that series is getting more popular. A work by Uxine that you can still get. I didn't get a notification on this, so maybe that's why it's still available. So anyways, Uxine is very popular, and this is just a nice, simple, I'd say fairly abstract work. This looks like a magnifying tool of some kind that is magnifying this circular, flashing sphere, pixelated sphere. So edition of 50, buy for 2. I think he put out another abstract work as well. So it looks like he's experimenting with abstract. This is a 1 of 1, and this went for 111 after an hour. So Everlasting Digital Dream. Continuing on, so here's another 4-minute and 37-second song. So we're obviously not going to listen to the whole thing. Let's see if it plays. This is by Ed Marola. Sound in Pixels 2022, Soliptum. So, pretty mysterious, pretty cool. Like I always say, if Ed didn't make it, nobody would have made it. It's like a Bjork, and cool music. Always kind of fun, kind of happy music here. Like, let's see if we can... Gets kind of abstract. Like it turns into a whole audio adventure here. So anyway, very cool edition of 100. And this went to Gora. So interesting that I accidentally paired these works together, but they seem to be actually kind of together. Is there some sort of clue here? Pupilla dilatata. So it seems like they're up to something here. There is something going on. Sabato has a new drawing exercise, which I'm a huge fan of this series. Here's the AI, what is it called? This is the benevolent AI that will watch over us with loving grace, as the poem says. Progress. Now, to receive one of these, you have to burn a copy of Congress, and you have to have one and burn one. So here is Congress. Now, this sold out as soon as he talked about it, and people started burning it. So you could have bought that for $4.50. Now you probably have to put an offer in. It's probably going to be a very small edition. So anyways, cool work here. Progress. And there it is. So this is, again, kind of using retro tools. I think he uses an Amiga. We'll look. Vote in progress. So seems to be Res Publica USA bot status. So remember, Congress, of course, is a political institution in the U.S., and this seems to be a kind of reference to the upcoming elections here, November 7th. I think it's November 7th or November 2nd in the U.S., congressional elections. So here, you can read all about it here. Created in Deluxe Paint 4 on an emulated Amiga A1200 computer. So very nice work here. A new work by Popple, and not animated. I saw him tweet out, that he's just like, the animations are killing him. So he's going to put out some still static works, and I don't blame them. I'm not a fan of animating either, generally speaking. I've actually warmed up to it. I used to not be able to. It was really getting out of my element to animate, but after collecting and after kind of, for lack of a better term, studying NFTs for a while, I've come to appreciate animation here and there, and actually a lot. So I like both. Anyways, Pixel Plankton, from what looks like a new series, interesting colors, cosmic drifters, and just one of these kind of strange sci-fi creatures, kind of organic, kind of retro tech from the future. The sauropods are one of the first creatures that merged with the smart nanomachines and started to inhabit the cosmos. They are in large numbers and can be found in all 4 quadrants of the known cosmos. So this is very cool too. So keeping with his kind of sci-fi theme, 800 by 800, and you can still buy it for 5 Tezos. Very, very cool. Looks like number 1 of a new series. Glitchtown Arcade, now I think it's Vito, he sometimes comments on this show, so anyways, a couple of new Nintendo glitch works here. A much different way of treating it than someone like, say, Haiti or even Sabato has in the past. So just an interesting treatment here, and interesting the text here, ready, fly. So this is some sort of skateboarding game, fly high, otherwise do not fly. Only 3 Tezos, edition of 50. And here's another one that Glitchtown Arcade put out. This is just a dream, relax, and enjoy your ride. So available also for 3 Tezos. So very cool, very glitchy. I love, my Peloponnesian War series. I'm going to start tweeting some of those out, and just other old art. I tweeted one out yesterday of Coinbase, and that, I appreciate all the support there that I was getting on Twitter. It's all very new for me. So anyways, this is a pretty cool work. Glitchtown Arcade, another cool Nintendo glitch work. Side Hustle, also known as Pixel Nachos, put out this edition of 5. So kind of the Giorgio de Chirico reference over here, interestingly, and combining a few of his elements into 3 different kind of quadrants here. Almost get that space there. I love it when people, we saw it in that Yuri J work, when people just make their own perspective. It's very fun, isn't it? Where you're not worrying about following the rules of perspective. Here, it looks like it's just creating its own, again, perspective. So buy for 15. Is that the mint price? Yes. It is listed for 15, edition of 5. So prices are going up over with Pixel Nachos, but great work, so I understand why. And what's Tezos these days, $1.40? This is a cool work in progress work from Byte by Bit, who did the Lemon Slice Nebula. So you can really get a window into how Byte by Bit is working here, and here it is finished. Again, I'm a huge fan of this series. I've bought up most of the one-of-ones. They're very reasonably priced, I thought. And it's just kind of a fun educational series. So, I have this, I think I picked this one up. I can just imagine the room full of these things. You put 10 of these things, and just very, very cool. This is Kepler's Supernova Remnant Nebula. Again, pixel work made by 1988 PC Paint 3.1. Awesome series. And thanks for the shout out, by the way, on Twitter, Byte by Bit. A new work by Turkarak, and this is an edition of 1. We'll see if it's still available. And you can buy this for 30. Always a little risque with Turkarak, but just an interesting artist. So kind of reminds me of, is it Ezra Eslin, the name? Kind of in that kind of illustrated style, and there's some sort of debauchery or some sort of mayhem ensuing. So again, you could definitely hang their works in the same room. Still available for 30. A new one from Timothy Julien, who I saw a few people picked up his works after the show, which I think is awesome, because this guy's great. And now I think he's releasing more work. I'm not sure. But anyways, just a very interesting artist. Love his work. So edition of 10, a Tezos 50, Daydreaming. And one more in kind of this illustrative style, this one with some animation. This is by Eclectical, who I don't think we've looked at on this program before. This is called In Motion. I like the JPEG icon there. Just everything about it just feels really, it has its own feel. It's original, right? So just another one in passing. You can get it for a Tezos, 98 Tezos cents. I like this arcade. That's $4.20. You know, I'm so simple sometimes. Just show me an arcade and it almost doesn't even matter. I'll just want to buy that one. Okay. And this was for the Hen reunion. So very nice work. Look at that. So Rain, a little bit of animation in the background. Interesting artist. I think this is AI. As I move into AI, Tommy Wilson, who I'd never heard of before. Maybe a lot of you have heard. So just an interesting Pepe here. And you see someone looking up, quite beautifully done. I think this is AI. So if we go to Tommy Wilson's 3D artist, I mean, maybe it's not. This is what I thought was funny, though. Professional baseball player, Baltimore Orioles. And he's not the first. You know, a lot of these baseball players and basketball players love NFTs. So that's just very bullish, right? Because, you know, they're probably in the off season right now, or maybe it's World Series season, or if you didn't make the World Series, whatever, there's an off season in sports. And I think it's great to see these guys. Yeah, look at them. So how cool is that, right? So, you know, it just makes you kind of bullish on NFTs. And here, speaking of which, our guy Strange Thing is in Complex. And a lot of you will know that media outlet, just kind of a cool culture, kind of reminds me of Vice a little bit. So they are posting, look at that, 2,683 likes. They're posting some of Strange Thing's works. I mean, we were looking at that 6-8 weeks ago here. So welcome to the Bleeding Edge on Artist Journal. And continuing on, Der Nadler. Now, I thought he was just a collector, but actually he's about to post a work on Super Rare. And he is out of Munich, Germany, digital art made with love by Richard Nadler, one of one edition. So he just put this out a day ago. So, and he definitely has his own style. And I feel like I've seen it on Twitter before, but maybe I hadn't referenced it on this show yet because I didn't realize he was an artist. So Der Nadler has a new work from the Japanese Gen Art collection. And this looks like is going to be his Genesis on Super Rare, the Cherry Picker, which is up today on a reserve auction. So very interesting. You know, a lot of these just kind of crazy AI fingers. So he looks like he's a pretty good AI artist, among other things, and generative art, and just a pretty cool work. So shout out to Richard Nadler. He's picked up a couple of my works there, so always grateful for that as well. This was interesting. So another AI artist, I believe, 0009. Today is a great day for me. It's my Genesis Mint on Foundation to mark the start of my solo show coming up at Super Chief, which we've heard of a few times, but look at this. In Venice, Italy, with the European Culture Center at the Venice Biennial. So, artifacts of a vandal. So, AI art and just blockchain art, the invasion begins. As was it Lewis was saying at the beginning of the show, referring in that YouTube comment there. So, yeah, so very interesting. Congratulations to 0009, another artist we've been covering here. And he got some bids as well. I think it's a he, 0009, on, so a bid for 0.7 ETH and another one for 0.5, and ETH has been going up pretty wildly the last couple of days here. So these aren't small numbers, maybe $700-800 each. Very nice. A work by Javier Tomeo as we wrap up here. On and on we go here. Two Friends. So just another beautiful landscape. I'm just really enjoying watching Javier Tomeo develop his AI prowess. The Oncoming Storm, another AI work. So just beautiful. Again, kind of has a Japanese screen feeling, but maybe mixed with like a 17th century kind of ship painting. 18th century ship painting. That's what it looks like it's going down over here, but a general. So it looks like he's melding styles here. And one more, Eve's Poppies. So very, very interesting work. I mean, one way of dealing with AI, this looks like raw AI, as they call it in the scene there, I believe. You know, another way of dealing with this is just like, what if you just had your style as an artist and then you just use this as your reference? all of these things. Like here, you just have a kind of crazy landscape. What if you're an oil painter and you just use this as a reference? Then it becomes even, you get that other transformation as it goes from AI and seen on the screen to say an oil paint. And that in itself, it's kind of an alchemical kind of spark that happens, a transformation when you go from medium to medium. Right. And I think like you can just imagine if this was like a big oil painting, how different that would feel. We were talking about Strange Things, almost iconic work there, the Nike guy, and how, what if that was a huge oil painting? When we first saw it, I think in late August, early September there. And Fax Machine, I'm always going to call him Fax Machine, I think, also known as Wasteman Goldminovich and Tezos, a new AI work. So just kind of interesting distortions here. I really like these kind of, I think it was the color that really sold me on this, these kind of light browns. It was also in another work that he had posted. I also like this contrast, this very sharp edge here, contrasting with this very light, soft edge here. So a lot of interesting stuff going on in this AI work by Tezos called Banquet, buy for almost nothing, 0.65, Tezos. And finally, a walk. This looks like a physical work he posted on Twitter. This is excellent work in my opinion. Like, look at how good and interesting he is. I think it's a he. Walk is, like, there's a pen here, so this clearly seems to be a physical work. Like, very impressive artist in my opinion. Walk continues to impress. And finally, I picked this up yesterday. We'll see if it even plays. But as a outro, we'll see if it works. See if it works. It kind of reminded me of Coast to Coast AM at the end. So I don't know if I'll keep it as that as we kind of make our little TV show here. Anyway, thank you for joining me once again. Until next time, see if I can get this working. Until next time, take care.